What if everything you've been taught about manifestation is built on a misunderstanding? Today, I'm revealing Neville Goddard's actual teachings that most experts get completely wrong. My dear, wonderful friends, I welcome you today with a message of tremendous importance. A message that has transformed countless lives throughout the decades, yet remains profoundly misunderstood in our modern world of quick-fix manifestation techniques and spiritual bypassing. Neville Goddard, perhaps the greatest mystical teacher of the 20th century, left us with a body of work so revolutionary, so contrary to conventional thinking, that most who claim to teach his methods today have fundamentally misinterpreted his core message. After dedicating 15 years to studying every lecture, every book, and every recording Neville produced, I discovered principles that shattered my previous understanding of reality itself. You see, my friends, what Neville taught wasn't simply another manifestation technique. It wasn't about vision boards or repeating affirmations until you convince yourself to believe them. It was something far more profound, a complete reimagining of who you truly are and your relationship to the universe itself. Today, I will reveal 3 shocking truths about Neville's actual teachings that have been diluted, distorted, or completely overlooked by most modern spiritual teachers. These revelations will free you from the endless cycle of manifestation techniques that yield temporary results at best. When properly understood and applied, these principles produce what most would call miraculous results with an effortlessness that defies conventional wisdom. But first, I must warn you, what I'm about to share may challenge everything you've been taught about the nature of reality. It may contradict practices you've been diligently following for years, yet I ask you to approach this with an open mind, for as Neville himself said, truth will never deny itself. If what I tell you is the truth, it will be confirmed in your experience. The teachings I'm about to share have transformed my life from one of constant struggle, of always trying to make things happen, to one where my desires manifest with such naturalness that it often seems as though the universe itself conspires to bring them to me. Yet this is not about the universe responding to me, and this misunderstanding is at the heart of why so many struggle to manifest their desires. Before we dive into the first revelation, let me ask you, have you ever noticed that some people seem to manifest their desires effortlessly, while others work tirelessly with visualization techniques, affirmations, and rituals, yet see little tangible results? Have you ever wondered why 2 people can apply the exact same manifestation technique with dramatically different outcomes? The answer lies not in the technique itself, but in a fundamental misunderstanding about the nature of consciousness and reality. This misunderstanding is so pervasive that it has infected nearly every modern teaching about manifestation, creating a subtle but critical error that prevents most seekers from experiencing the true power of their consciousness. The first shocking truth about manifestation is that there is nothing to attract or manifest from outside yourself. Let me repeat that, for this understanding alone will revolutionize your manifestation practice. There is nothing to attract or manifest from outside yourself. Neville taught that the entire world you experience is a projection of your own consciousness, not metaphorically but literally. In his own words, the world is yourself, pushed out. All that you behold, though it appears without, it is within, in your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. This is not merely positive thinking or a psychological trick to improve your attitude. This is the fundamental nature of reality itself. The people, circumstances, and events you experience are not separate from you, waiting to be influenced by your thoughts. They are the direct expression of your consciousness, particularly your assumptions about what is true. Most manifestation teachings start with the premise that you are a separate being in a vast universe, trying to attract things from outside yourself. This perspective immediately creates resistance as you're attempting to change something that appears separate from you. But Neville's revolutionary insight was that there is no separation. The world is yourself pushed out. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes not about attracting or creating something new, but about awakening to what already exists within your consciousness. This is why Neville emphasized, you do not attract what you want. You manifest what you already have in consciousness. Consider this. Have you ever noticed that when you change your mind about something, truly change your deep conviction, the outer world seems to magically reorganize itself to match your new understanding? This is not coincidence. It is the law of consciousness in action. The outer world must conform to your inner assumptions, not because it is responding to you, but because it is you, externalized. Let me share a profound example from Neville's own lectures. He tells of a woman who had been separated from her husband for many years. Despite numerous attempts to reconcile through external means, through letters, through mutual friends, through legal channels, nothing worked. After learning Neville's teachings, she stopped trying to change the external situation and instead focused on changing her consciousness. She began to sleep each night in the assumption that her husband was right there beside her. She would feel his presence, feel the naturalness of their reconciliation, and fall asleep in this state. Within weeks, after years of separation and silence, her husband contacted her, and their reconciliation unfolded with an ease and naturalness that seemed miraculous. Yet it was simply the law of consciousness operating as it always does, the outer world conforming to her inner conviction. This is the profound difference between most manifestation teachings and Neville Goddard's actual message. You are not trying to attract something to you. You are simply aligning your consciousness with what you desire to express, and then watching as the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner conviction. The implications of this understanding are staggering. It means that nothing is impossible to you. Nothing is beyond your reach, for the only barriers that exist are the assumptions you hold about what is possible or impossible, what you deserve or don't deserve, what is available or unavailable to you. Now let us explore the second profound misconception about manifestation that keeps countless spiritual seekers trapped in a cycle of effort and disappointment. This revelation alone has the power to transform your manifestation practice from one of constant striving to one of serene certainty. The second shocking truth is this. Manifestation is not about repetition, it's about capturing the feeling of the wish fulfilled just once, with complete conviction. Most modern teachers will tell you that manifestation requires constant repetition, affirming your desire hundreds of times, visualizing repeatedly day after day, as if you're trying to convince the universe to give you what you want. This approach betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of how consciousness creates reality. Neville Goddard taught something radically different. He said, "You need not repeat the act if it satisfies. If the act is incomplete, you repeat it again and again until you are self-persuaded that you have reached your objective." The key phrase here is self-persuaded. Manifestation is not about convincing an external force. It's about convincing yourself, reaching a state where you are completely self-persuaded that what you desire is already yours in consciousness. When you truly capture the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you experience the reality of it in your imagination with such vividness that it produces the genuine emotion of having it, repetition becomes unnecessary. At that moment, the seed is planted, and natural forces begin moving to bring about its expression in your outer world. This is what Neville meant by feeling is the secret. Not merely emotions, but the tangible feeling of the wish fulfilled, the reality of possessing what you desire. When you genuinely capture this feeling, repetition becomes not only unnecessary but potentially counterproductive, as it betrays a lack of faith in the completeness of your original act. Consider this profound example from Neville's lectures. He tells of a man who desired to travel to Barbados but lacked the financial means to do so. Rather than repeatedly affirming, "I am going to Barbados," or visualizing the trip over and over, the man followed Neville's instruction to capture the feeling of being there just once with complete conviction. One night, before sleep, this man imagined himself lying in a hammock at his family home in Barbados. He felt the tropical breeze on his skin, heard the familiar rustle of palm trees, smelled the distinctive island scents, and felt the profound satisfaction of being home. He fell asleep in this state, having completely captured the feeling of his wish fulfilled. Within days, a series of unexpected events unfolded. A former employer contacted him regarding a business opportunity that required travel to, yes, Barbados, with all expenses paid. What seemed impossible through external effort manifested with effortless grace once the feeling of the wish fulfilled was captured in consciousness. This is the critical difference between conventional manifestation techniques and Neville's actual teaching. You are not trying to make something happen through repetition and effort. You are experiencing it as already accomplished in consciousness and then allowing the outer world to reshape itself accordingly. When you genuinely live from the end, when you occupy the state of consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled, your thoughts, words, and actions naturally align with that reality. You don't need to force yourself to think positively or speak as if. These become the natural expression of your new state of consciousness. This brings us to another crucial aspect of Neville's teaching, that most modern interpreters miss entirely. Manifestation is not about what you do, it's about the state from which you do it. Neville called these states assumptions, and he taught that everything in your life is the result of the assumptions you occupy. An assumption, Neville said, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are occupying a new state of consciousness. From this new state, the manifestation of your desire becomes inevitable, not because you're attracting it, but because the outer world must conform to your inner state. This is vastly different from the exhausting practice of constantly affirming, visualizing, and working to manifest your desires. Those approaches assume separation between you and what you desire. They assume effort is required. But Neville taught the principle of effortless manifestation through the simple but profound practice of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let me share a personal example that demonstrates the power of this approach. For years I struggled with financial insecurity, constantly worried about money despite using every manifestation technique I could find. I affirmed wealth, visualized abundance, created vision boards, all the conventional approaches, yet my financial situation remained precarious. Then I discovered Neville's actual teaching about assuming the state of wealth consciousness. Rather than trying to attract money, I began to live from the assumption that I was already financially secure. Before sleep each night, I would feel the profound relief and quiet confidence of knowing all my needs were met abundantly. I captured this feeling with such conviction that I no longer felt the need to repeat the exercise night after night. Something had shifted within me. I was self-persuaded. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities began appearing in my life. A book deal materialized seemingly out of nowhere. Speaking engagements came my way without effort. My income doubled, then tripled, yet I had done nothing differently in the outer world. The only change was in my consciousness, in the state I was occupying. This leads us to the third profound misconception about manifestation, one that has created untold frustration for spiritual seekers. The modern spiritual marketplace has convinced us that manifestation requires positive thinking and maintaining high vibration. According to this teaching, negative thoughts and emotions block your manifestations and must be eliminated. This creates an exhausting spiritual practice where you're constantly policing your thoughts, trying to banish any negativity, living in fear that a moment of doubt or worry will destroy your manifestation. This approach not only creates tremendous psychological pressure, but also fundamentally misunderstands Neville's teaching. The third shocking truth about manifestation is that it's not about maintaining positive thoughts. It's about occupying the state where your desire is fulfilled, regardless of external evidence to the contrary. Neville never taught that negative thoughts themselves had the power to block your manifestations. Instead, he taught that what matters is the state you predominantly occupy. Passing thoughts and temporary emotions have little power compared to your underlying assumptions about reality. This is why Neville emphasized the practice of revision, not as a technique for maintaining positivity, but as a way of refashioning your memory to support your desired state. When you revise an unpleasant experience in your imagination, you are not denying its occurrence or engaging in toxic positivity. You are exercising your power as the operant power in your reality to reinterpret events in a way that supports your desired consciousness. Now, my dear friends, let us integrate these three revolutionary principles into a practical approach that you can begin applying immediately in your own life. For knowledge without application remains merely intellectual entertainment. It is in the living of these truths that their power is revealed. To review the three shocking truths about manifestation we've uncovered. First, there is nothing to attract from outside yourself. The world is yourself pushed out, a reflection of your consciousness. Second, manifestation is not about repetition, but about capturing the feeling of the wish fulfilled with complete conviction. Third, manifestation is not about maintaining positive thoughts, but about occupying the state where your desire is fulfilled, regardless of external evidence. These principles constitute Neville Goddard's law of assumption, a fundamental reimagining of reality that stands in stark contrast to the commonly taught law of attraction. While the law of attraction positions you as separate from your desires, seeking to draw them to you through effort and technique, the law of assumption recognizes that you already possess everything in consciousness, needing only to assume the state where your desire is fulfilled. Let me now guide you through a practical exercise that embodies these principles, one that you can begin applying tonight to experience their transformative power firsthand. This exercise, which Neville considered the most important of all his teachings, is deceptively simple yet profoundly effective. He called it the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it is best practiced in that drowsy, relaxed state just before sleep. Begin by identifying a specific desire, something you wish to experience in your life. Now create a simple scene that would imply your desire has already been fulfilled. This scene should be short, easily repeated in imagination, and one that would naturally occur after your desire has manifested. For instance, if your desire is for a loving relationship, your scene might be as simple as lying in bed and feeling your partner's hand in yours. If financial abundance is your desire, your scene might be hearing a friend congratulate you on your prosperity, or the feeling of writing a check without concern for the balance in your account. The key is not the specific scene itself, but your ability to enter fully into it, to experience it with all your senses, as if it were actually happening now. As Neville said, you must be in it, not looking on. You must be part of the scene, actually participating in it, and not merely a spectator watching it. Now, as you lie in bed tonight, close your eyes and completely relax your body. Feel the tension melting away from each muscle, each limb, until you reach that delicious state of drowsiness where consciousness begins to drift. In this receptive state, gently bring your scene to mind. Enter fully into this scene. See what you would see, hear what you would hear, feel what you would feel if this were actually happening now. Don't merely visualize it as a distant picture. Be there, fully present, participating in the reality of your fulfilled desire. The secret to this exercise's effectiveness lies not in the perfection of your visualization, but in your ability to generate the feeling that would accompany your wish fulfilled. This feeling, this emotional conviction, is what impresses your consciousness and begins the process of manifestation. As Neville taught, the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the feeling which precedes its manifestation. It is the indicator that the desired state is established within your consciousness. Continue in this scene, experiencing it as real until you feel a definite satisfaction, a quiet knowing that it is done. Then allow yourself to drift into sleep, carrying this feeling with you. This is crucial, for as you sleep, your conscious mind's resistance is lowered, allowing your assumption to sink deeper into consciousness. What distinguishes this approach from conventional techniques is that you need not repeat it endlessly. Once you have genuinely captured the feeling of your wish fulfilled, once you are self-persuaded, the seed is planted. Your only task then is to remain faithful to this new assumption, to live from this state despite any contradictory evidence in the outer world. Some of you may be wondering, but what if doubts arise? What if I can't maintain this feeling consistently? This is where most teachers of manifestation create unnecessary anxiety by insisting that any negative thought will destroy your manifestation. Neville taught something far more liberating. He recognized that passing thoughts and temporary states have little power compared to your underlying assumption. What matters is not that you never experience doubt, but that you don't dwell in it, that you continually return to the tension of your wish fulfilled, especially when external circumstances seem to contradict it. This is the test of your faith. Not that you never waver, but that you persist in your assumption despite all evidence to the contrary. As Neville said, faith is simply loyalty to your unseen assumptions. Let me address some common questions that naturally arise when encountering these principles for the first time. How long will it take for my desire to manifest? This question betrays the very misconception we've been addressing, that manifestation is a future event rather than a present reality in consciousness. When you truly occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, time becomes irrelevant. Your outer world will reorganize itself at the pace of nature, which sometimes works with miraculous speed and sometimes unfolds with perfect timing that becomes apparent only in retrospect. What if my desire involves other people? Can I influence them through this practice? This question stems from the misunderstanding that others are separate from you. Remember, the entire world you experience is yourself pushed out. You are not manipulating others. You are shifting your own consciousness, of which they are a part. As your consciousness shifts, the reflection, including the behavior of others, must shift accordingly. Do I need to take physical action to manifest my desires? From the conventional perspective, action seems necessary to create change, but from Neville's teaching, appropriate action flows naturally from your state of consciousness. When you truly occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally taking actions that align with that state, not through forced effort, but through inspiration and intuitive guidance. The profound liberation in Neville's teaching is that you need not struggle to make things happen. Your only task is to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to occupy the state where your desire is already yours in consciousness. From that state, all necessary actions and circumstances arise naturally, often in ways your limited perspective could never have planned or anticipated. This is the true meaning of believing is seeing, not that your belief will eventually produce results in the future, but that what you assume as true in consciousness is already the present reality from which your experience flows. My friends, I share these principles with you today, not merely as theoretical concepts, but as living truths that have transformed countless lives, my own included. When properly understood and applied, they free you from the endless search for new techniques, new teachers, new approaches to manifestation. The power you seek, the power to shape your reality according to your desires, is not something to be attained. It is your natural inheritance as a creative being. It has always been yours, requiring only your recognition and conscious exercise. I invite you to test these principles in your own experience. Select a desire close to your heart. Apply this simple practice of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and observe as the seemingly solid world of facts begins to rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. For as Neville proclaimed with unwavering certainty, an assumption, though false if persisted in, will harden into fact. This is the divine promise, the eternal law that underlies all manifestation. What you assume as true, with feeling and conviction, must express itself in your experience. Not because you have attracted it or created it, but because your consciousness is the only reality, and the world must conform to its contents. Begin tonight. Take your consciousness in your own hands and mold it according to your heart's desire. Then watch as miracles, simple, natural, inevitable expressions of your changed consciousness, unfold in your life with effortless grace. Remember, you are not working to change the world. You are recognizing that the world is yourself pushed out, and by changing yourself, your assumptions about what is true, you change everything. This is the profound simplicity of Neville Goddard's actual teaching. Not endless techniques and practices, but the simple, transformative truth that your consciousness is the one and only creative power in your experience. Take this knowledge, apply it faithfully, and prepare to witness the miraculous unfoldment of your desires, not as future possibilities, but as present realities awaiting your recognition